Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Leighton's Loft. We have a very special guest here, Lou, with us.
Yes. Hi, Crosby. How are you?
Good.
Very good. You look so handsome today.
What do you say?
Thank you.
So as I mentioned to you just a minute ago, Lou and gang, thanks for joining us. We had a nurse situation where Elena, who is amazing, was not available this afternoon, and asked this particular Wednesday if I could take care of him for a few hours, and certainly that wasn't an issue. Hey, what's up, Deb? Looking forward to seeing my family on Father's Day. Hopefully, you do the same, Lou.
Yes. Yep. Saw my kids today. Actually, had lunch with them. So.
Oh, very nice.
Yep.
So Crosby and I have been doing all sorts of fun stuff this afternoon. But for me, Cros, the thing that I thought was the coolest is how we were working on our obstacle course. What do you think about that?
Oh, cool.
I think coolest thing was the obstacle course.
Now, Lou, did you ever do an obstacle course at any point in your life, like in gym class or in your backyard?
Well, I mean, I built one for my kids. That was kind of good. I don't know if I ever went over it, but I built one for my kids.
Crosby, I thought I was building it for Crosby. And then Crosby said, Daddy, I'd like you to basically do the course with me. And I'm in flip-flops, Lou. So admittedly, it was a little precarious at moments, but we had a good time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
there were no tubes to crawl to. I'll bet crawl through.
Yeah, we started. We had trampoline. We used the play set. A whole bunch of running. Climbing and all sorts of fun stuff. Right, dude? But then we started working on. We have two different basketball nets. So I have a regular basketball hoop, 10 foot.
Sure.
For Daddy, and then we have a little tights one for you. And what were you working on?
To do trick shots.
Well, tell him, not me.
We're doing trick shots.
Yeah, we were doing trick shots.
Trick
shots. A bounce shot.
What's a bounce shot mean? Why don't you tell them?
It's a shot where you bounce the ball and then it goes in the hoop.
Well, you try to make it go in the hoop.
Yeah.
That's super cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you and your dad play horse together?
Well, technically. So we played horse, but then, so it was horse, but just my name.
We played Crosby.
Oh, you play Crosby. Oh, I love that.
Right?
I love that. That is great.
So, Crosby, I know you're excited to do the other fun things that you're going to do while Daddy's on the show, but I wanted you to show off what you have right in front of you, your certificate.
Look at that.
Good presentation.
Very nice.
Well, get it back here. So Crosby just finished his baseball season. And if you see, guys, it's called the SOMA, which is South Orange, Maplewood area. Cal Ripken, what was back up here, honey? Cal Ripken National T-Ball League 2021, Crosby Sheldon.
Yep.
And those were the coaches. They were great coaches. And did you have a lot of fun?
Yes.
Now, what was the best part of the season? Because I think I know what you're going to say.
What?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I say no, it's not the pool.
Oh, what was it then?
The pool party.
Ah, you did trick me. So I was going to ask him what was the best part of his season, but I think we both agree it was probably the pool party.
Oh, there you go.
Had an epic pool party at the end of the season, right, Cross?
Mm-hmm. And the best part was the water was heated.
The water was heated. Wow, Luke! Can you imagine being 60 years old and you're going to your friend's pool and it's heated? Man, I'm drinking out of garden hoses still.
I didn't even have a kiddie pool.
Yeah, are you kidding me? Cross, everyone's saying hi to you. Like, can you see those little things right here?
What team did you play for, Crosby?
What?
What team did you play for?
Do you remember the name of it?
Jeff Lake Camp.
Jeff Lake Camp.
Okay, so no, they weren't using Major League uniforms then.
No, but in my own mind, they were the Yankees, Lou.
Of course.
I'm just being honest.
Yep.
So anyway, Crosby's opened a couple packs with us before. He's had some pretty good luck. We opened a 93 Topps baseball pack where we pulled a Jeter, and then we actually opened up like an 85 Leaf pack in the office where we got a Clemens. So
what's a Leaf pack?
Leaf is the manufacturer.
What does that mean?
The person who the company that produces the cards.
Oh.
Yeah. Now tell them if you think Daddy has a little bit of cards, a medium amount of cards, or a lot of cards.
Well, I said it's like it's so hard to walk around. It's like as many toys. I I have in my playroom.
Wow.
Well, you're very adorable, honey. I thought that we would do this before you go downstairs and play. Because he's in the Cal Ripken League and now graduating from it, I
Yes.
thought what better way to open up, have a few minutes of fun and open up a pack of 1982 Topps Baseball,
Oh, I
Daddy
like
and son, together live on the Loft. And we're hoping we pull a Cal Ripken rookie, Kraz, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what are we not going to do?
Don't eat the gum.
Don't eat the gum, we said.
the gum. Yeah. Vital lesson. Yeah. A vital lesson.
Okay, Kraz.
One time, actually, my other nurse here, she actually, she would I think she once said, this gum has been she ate the gum once.
I think she did. But see, there's something about the old gum, Lou. Everyone loves it.
Darcy says, I feel your pain, Crosby. What's that all about? That sounds like a...
Oh, Crosby, someone else is saying hi to you. Darcy, she's a friend of the community. Okay, so let's try to show the cards to everyone.
Okay.
Can you see?
Sure. The first card is...
Oh, good job.
Oh, Fred Lynn. Yeah.
Fred Lynn. They're gonna say the name. You just hold it up. And say the second card.
Okay.
Put that down. Put that down there. Okay, why don't you say the second card?
Is that a good card?
Fred Lynn was a very good baseball player. Lou, what do you think?
Absolutely. Very good center fielder. Yes.
Daddy's friend Lou knows a lot about baseball. Like, you think I know a lot? He knows a lot about baseball.
Oh, I don't know about that. Follow me around for 24 hours.
Okay, so that's the second card.
Johnny Grubb.
Which one's better?
The first one was better, but the second one, man, those chops. I mean, that's what a time period.
It's good 80s hair. We like the 80s
I
hair.
think he was hibernating.
Has Crosby ever had a grape Swedish fish? Todd's asking. Does he like them?
I love sweet.
Of course, he's his daddy's son.
Yep.
Okay, let's go through the rest of the pack, honey.
Yes, Gus, you're on the right
You didn't
piece.
show it up. It's okay. Yeah, he was a good ball player. You gotta ask Lou. He likes to be dramatic.
Who's that? You got to hold it still. Is Andre Dawson? Nope. Pedro Guerrero.
He was really solid.
Yep. Very good. Good hitter.
Okay,
Good contact skills.
that's the sticker. Here's a sticker of Ken Oberkfell.
Okay. Very good.
Let's do the sticker after, honey. Okay, let's show the cards because they want to see the cards.
Okay. I can't see who that is. Mickey Rivers. All right. There you go.
Next.
That was Mickey Rivers' bat that Bucky Dent hit the home run with, right?
Yeah. By the way, a lot of good ball players, Lou. Like, no Hall of Famers yet, I don't think.
Yep.
But Darrell Evans was another really good ball player.
Solid players. Absolutely.
It was signed.
Let's tell Crosby about. He asked Lou a really good question. He asked if it was signed.
Yep.
So Crosby, this is called facsimile, so it's not really signed. It's just printed on the card. Sorry to bust your bubble.
No, Rocco, I never got a T-ball certificate.
Okay.
I was pre-T-ball.
No, you can hold it, honey. It's not for me to hold. I was just
So
straightening it out.
Yep.
There you go. Well, try to straighten it so they can see. Perfect.
Very nice.
Billy Sample.
Yeah, Jim. They didn't play in Texas during the day in the summer. It was all night games down there, even the weekend games in that ballpark. John
Ellis, former Ranger. I'm sorry.
Hey, Billy, welcome back. We appreciate it. And he's coaching a lot of baseball.
Perfect. What's up, Billy? Oh, I got excited, Lou. I saw Future Star. It's the wrong team.
Mike Tyson.
What's a future star?
Oh, really good question, Crosby. So Crosby's asking what a future star is. Here, why don't you show this? This is a future star. So Crosby, these were cards they thought back. These were players back when they made the set that they thought would be a future star, like a rookie that would be really good. So why don't you show it to everyone in the community?
So this how Donkey gets?
I'm sorry?
Are these different people?
There are three different people.
Oh, then you don't want to hear the future card.
It's future stars, meaning are they going to be a star baseball player?
I thought it was that person, but then got bigger and bigger, and then.
Oh, you thought it was one person and three different pictures? That's pretty cool. Why don't you show everybody? Perfect.
There you go. Nice job.
So, that's the same style as the Ripken we're looking for. There you go. Oh, we finally got a Hall of Famer coming up after this guy, Steve Nikosha, who I've never heard of.
Nope.
But I love the pirate uniform.
Doesn't ring a bell. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Like those Pirates batting helmets with the gold top and the black bill.
Pretty good one, Cross.
Who we got? Paul Molitor. Yeah, that's very good.
There we go.
Yep.
Hall of Famer. Okay. And we got 3 more cards, cutie. And you can tell Mommy you were the star of the show. She said, what are you guys going to do today? I said, we're making him a star.
Who said that?
Mommy.
Steve.
Oh, sorry, Jeff Zahn.
Jeff's son.
All right, here we go. I remember this guy very well. What's up, Chef? Turn around. Chef is Daddy's friend that watches the show.
Rick Ruschel?
Yep. No, Rick Roden.
Rick Roden. Okay.
I feel like he was in a lot of teams, Lou.
He was in a lot of teams.
And then lastly, trying to cover. Lance Parrish.
I'm turning my head like maybe I'll be able to.
I know. I was trying to do the same thing.
Mel asks if Crosby has a favorite player, and I'm guessing it's a Yankee.
So, Crosby, do you have a favorite player yet?
No.
Not yet, but hopefully soon. Cross, did you have fun?
Yes.
Okay.
What is it?
What do you think that is? Why don't you show that to everybody? What did we say we're not going to do?
Not eat the gum. I mean, yes, eat the gum.
I don't think so.
I don't know. It looks pretty good.
No. We're putting this over here.
As
Okay,
gut
so you
goes.
take this and then go play, and I'll see you in a little bit, okay? If you beep at all, come up and tell Daddy, okay? You have a sticker. Yes, there is.
Susan asks if Crosby got any of the grape fish that she sent up to New
Oh,
Jersey.
he did.
Yep.
What does that mean?
That means you ate some grape Swedish fish, cutie. Okay. Go have fun.
Billy says he got a Mike Tyson, the baseball player's autograph on a baseball on the subway in New York when he was in 1976. That's a great story.
Pretty cool.
Yep.
Make sure you go downstairs and close the door, okay? Love you.
Down.
No, just see your room, honey. You can watch your tablet or you can play Nintendo Switch. I'll see you in a little bit.
Hey, Monty, welcome.
Hey, what's going on, Monty? It was a nice addition to the program today. Thanks for hanging out, Cross.
Yep.
So I wanted to announce a few things on the show. We have a really fun 7 prizes, which we'll get to in a minute. Also, yesterday, Lou, was the 1-year anniversary of our new website. And we went fairly bananas. It was a lot of fun. We're continuing some of that today because I was a little jealous. I was not able to be there. I actually had a lunch, a business lunch in the area near the office, but then had to run to the city, participated in a trade night at my buddy Bleecker Trading's place. So that was kind of interesting. We'll talk about that in just a few minutes. And of course, we have a cool guest coming up about 5:15 today.
Yep.
So our promo that we've announced for this afternoon, kind of in the spirit of our 1-year website anniversary, is from 4:30 Lou to 7:30 p.m. today. We're running a $10 bonus promo where for every $10 you spend on any breaks at all at our website at vintagebreaks.com, we'll get you 1 entry. If you spend $20, you get 2 entries, so on and so forth. So first prize from 4:30 to 7:30 today will be a $500 break credit.
Wow.
We're doing that once again in honor of the 1-year website, new website anniversary. Shout out to our friends at Jam Graphics, who've been not just great partners when we collaborated on the website together, but since then they've kind of been behind the scenes for us, doing a lot of fun stuff for VB, for the community, just making the whole situation seamless. And so we're grateful for that. Second place in that is an exclusive wheel spin. Third place, I believe, is a 1954 Bowman set spot. Once again, you can see all the details on our website at vintagebreaks.com. And then, Lou, as an added bonus, because I figured, we have some folks who are avid watchers of the Loft and participants, and we appreciate that very much. And so, Lou, we're running basically a promo that only runs from 4:30 to 5:30. It's the same style in that it's $10. So if you're going to buy it anyway, it would behoove you to buy in from 4:30 to 5:30 and not wait from 5:30 to 7:30. And the reason being is, Lou, anyone who buys in during the Loft today, at least $10 of breaks will get one entry in the special promotion, and one person at the end of the show today at 5:30 will win, who participates in the promo, will win a $1,000 briefcase as well as an exclusive wheel spin that'll be happening this evening on our show. So we got a lot of fun promotions planned for the afternoon. And then we have a souped up 7 prizes for our show, Leighton's Loft. We're going to give away today, Lou, a $100 break credit to first place.
Wow, very nice.
Those of you who are unsure, that break credit will be to vintagebreaks.com. Second place will be a 1966 Philadelphia football set spot. Third place will be a 75 mini set spot. And the last 4 prizes will be a BAM spot. And our newly announced Break of Maniacs Appreciation promo will be rolling out all of our big promotions that we're going to be concluding the final Sunday of the National on August 1st. We'll be rolling those out in the next few days. And so we have a lot of good stuff, excuse me, coming up here in the next, 5 or 6 weeks, Lou.
Great. So lots of great prizes. Thanks for being here today. We always enjoy everybody participating.
Oh, I hit the chat, but I realized on my phone when I stream, I'm not able to see the chat.
Oh, really?
Well, I see things you pop up, but I don't see the chat.
Yep. See, Dave Melcher says the star of the show left. The guest today doesn't have a chance to compete.
No, probably not. But we'll give him the runway anyway at about 5:15, and it's none other than Lou from Card Talk or Card Talk Pod, depending on where you follow them. Also works on Gary V's team. I'm sure he'll have some fun stories. We saw each other at the show, this past weekend, Lou, which was a blast, for us.
Yeah, lots of great feedback from everybody about that show.
Yeah, the show itself was really good. The energy was really good at the show. We of course had a lot of folks who were watching online, Lou, but then plenty of folks who were there in person. We met some new people like Eddie from Investicard, who's a fairly intense personality. So that was kind of fun and interesting. And we had little kids on there. My buddy Liddy from high school, his 2 boys, Joe and Max, were guest breakers for a pack. It was a blast.
Tyler says he was right next to you at the table on Friday, but you had your headphones on, so he didn't want to be rude.
Oh, well, you could be rude. It's a card show. Tyler, next time, all kidding aside, please feel free to say hi. I'm not sure if I was on the phone or what have you, but, I met a lot of folks, from our community. And, of course, just, Lou, people I hadn't seen in, a year, maybe
right.
even longer. That was the part that was really missing for me, as part of the business and such. So that was great.
Okay, what were the finds, though? What did you find? What did you come home with?
Sure. So I bought 2 things for myself, which I believe I can go snag pretty easily. Let me go get those.
Okay. Nice look at Leighton's neighborhood. That's really nice. Lots of great prizes today, so everybody should go bring a friend from the industry.
All right, gang. So this, I believe we showed it off the other day on from the show, but This is a Donruss Jack Nicklaus rookie from 1981, signed, and authenticated by PSA.
Very nice. I go with Tom. That Mitch Williams was a great guest. He was terrific.
Unbelievable. And how great was it? He didn't even know what stat I was talking about when I said, "What have you done that no other major leaguer has ever done?" And then he proceeded to sign a gorgeous baseball with an inscription saying as such. What a fun stat, right?
Yep. Yeah, it was great.
So here is the other card I bought for myself. Now, I bought a lot more, which we'll talk about in a minute. This is a Max Scherzer Heritage Refractor rookie PSA 9. I like that it's numbered. Plus, I think it's a cool-looking card.
It is a great, good-looking card. I like that.
And this card definitely was purchased with the intent of holding it for a long time, i.e. Hall of Fame. And once again, I'm sure Crosby will be selling the stuff like out of the back of his car. But at least for me, it was fun to acquire it,
Yep. So how much do you do? You probably just, it's case by case, right? Whether you're doing a long-term buy or a buy that you might turn over rather quickly. It's just a matter of opportunity, right? Seeing.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And to be fair, Lou, I hope I do a good job of this. You can ask anyone at the Philly show. So not only did I spend a great deal of money, but I tried to do it with as many people, as many different people as I could. It's obviously not always possible.
Yep.
But I was looking at my numbers, and this is how crazy it is as you were as an owner. I bought this 2 boxes of product. It was $250 each, and I thought I could get a little bit cheaper. I didn't ask. It turns out you can get them a little bit cheaper, like $2.25. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
Like, I know who I bought them from. The guy's great. He's actually going to have, I'm sure, some good recommendations for the National in terms of dinner recs if we need any. He's just he's salt of the earth. So I like being able to do business and kind of picking and choosing spots to, if you will, like people talk about supporting your local card store.
Yeah.
Well, to me at a card show, the more people you can support, especially if you know who these people are, the better off you are.
Yeah, a good business relationship, that's worth the extra $25.
Yeah. So, for me, I would say on a personal level, I thought that, meaning like what I enjoyed the most about the show, I thought it was the interaction and seeing a lot of folks I hadn't seen in forever, or in some cases never met. And then honestly, man, Mitch Williams was really, he was a great guest. He actually gifted to me afterwards because he, the owner of the person who runs the convention / the owner, if you will, who, was the person who set us up with Mitch, said, hey man, just FYI, Mitch had a great time. And, he doesn't usually sign these Joe Carter photos, but he basically wanted to give me one. And so I thought that was pretty cool.
It was very nice.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get him on a break on our Vintage Breaks experience coming up.
No, I think it would be great. And, it's funny. He was kind of all over the board in terms of like what he was, interested in talking about. And I didn't even get to some of my, if you will, agenda. So shout out to Dougie Fresh, Lou. So I asked Dougie, probably 11 minutes before, of course, hey, Doug, I need some tidbits. I need juice. I need some action. I need facts. But, not stuff you could just Google real easy, Lou, right? I don't need to know when he went to the World Series. Everyone knows that. So he had a pretty good, array of facts. And obviously the doozy was the stat of what Mitch Williams did that no one else did. And so, I thought that his list was great. And when Eddie from Investacard, who you can check them out on Instagram, and I think they have their website's investacard.com. Interesting guy, certainly interesting business. He was like, oh my God, what am I going to ask him? I'm like, wait, you didn't do any research? Like, you don't have any, you know what I mean? Like, if you're just going to, if it doesn't matter, it's fine. He's like, what do you got? So I show him and he's like, wait, did you use this? I'm like, yeah, no, use that one. I'm like, oh, I didn't use this one. So it turns out Mitch Williams, and Eddie's an entrepreneur. Mitch Williams is also an entrepreneur. He had started, I guess, a couple bowling alleys. And so I said, she's talking about that. That was fantastic.
Dougie's the perfect guy to come up with this stuff.
Are you kidding me? If
nobody didn't have a Doug.
I need like 9 facts about, forget about it, obscure. Obscure is difficult for anybody.
Yes.
But I got texts that are firing in here as we're chatting. It's hysterical. Hey, what's up, Andy?
Put that angry thing up here. We got one angry. Who's angry out there?
I don't know.
Oh, Gus is angry. Gus, what happened?
I don't know. Anyway, Mitch was awesome, and I'm looking forward to the next Philly show, which I believe will be in September. Our next show from Just Collect and Vintage Break standpoint is going to be the National Sports Collectors Convention in Chicago. It's the last weekend of July going into that Sunday. My advice is, if you're on the cusp, if you're not sure, even if you don't know if you're definitely gonna be able to go, book yourself a hotel. Things are going up in price. You're not going to want to drop $300 a night on a hotel that used to cost $150.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of Mr. Fresh, stay tuned. So I don't know if you heard, Lou, Dougie has a new spot on Monday nights. He's breaking 7 to 10 or 7 to 11. I got to ask the team from the office. Now, Gilmore, who was breaking on Monday nights that time, he's now going to be breaking on Saturday nights for wine and cheese starting at 6 o'clock.
I like it.
He wants to call it wine and cheese. I think it's weird. He doesn't even drink wine. But, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah. So why not? He doesn't drink wine and he's going to do wine and cheese?
Who am I to judge?
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Brett? Hope all is well. So anyway, folks, at 5:15, as I mentioned, Lou's got a prior engagement. That's why he's joined us a little bit late. But nonetheless, we're thrilled to have him in just a little bit. I wanted to talk about trade night last night at Bleecker Trading. Something that, occurred there, that 7 to 10. Thanks, JP. So W Fresh is going to be breaking on Monday night, 7 to 10. Our regular team will be breaking 4 to 7 in the office. And like I said, wine and cheese with Gilmore from 6 p.m. and I guess beyond, right? Like he could go to 3 in the morning on Saturday night. I don't know. But speaking of Gilmore, what's kind of fun is, like, Lou, did you watch Scooby-Doo growing up?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I mean, I love Scooby-Doo.
Yep.
So some of my favorite episodes of Scooby-Doo wasn't just the regular Scooby episode. It was like the crossover. So like Batman would be on Scooby that day. Or like the Harlem Globetrotters would be on Scooby-Doo.
Sure. That
was sweet. Gilmore is coming to town next Monday for a week. So it's like our own version of Scooby-Doo.
A
the
crossover.
South is invading the North. And I'm hoping, whether it be it's Drew or some of the guys who do the memes for us, I want to do like a Game of Thrones kind of thing where like the North is being invaded.
I like it.
The
South will rise again. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Ruh-roh.
So it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's funny. I spent a couple hours. It wasn't a couple hours, but it was a while yesterday parsing the difference between Astro on the Jetsons and Scooby-Doo on Scooby-Doo.
Really?
Yeah, especially the way they were talking. And we just finally decided that Astro used all the R's and Scooby was... We were trying to decide who claimed ruh-roh, whether it was Scooby-Doo or...
I remember the Jetsons. Astro. I used to watch it over Serial. I forgot exactly what age. But those certainly bring back some nice memories, Lou. Getting to discuss the scene last night of Bleecker Trading at 96 Christopher in NYC. Very interesting. Lou, one of the collectors there who also had his own podcast, he had a Michael Jordan Fleer PSA 10 rookie. So, I mean, they had security. I brought 52 Mantle. There was a lot of juice in the room. There was a lot of high-powered cards. And it was very laid back. So for me, Lou, going there and not having like a table to have to go attend to, or like to have to scour the room to see what was there in terms of a deal, it was very social. It was a really nice change.
Yeah. Yeah, just, so you can concentrate a little bit more on what you're doing.
Well, and also just about like the relationship, right? So like plenty of people I knew, some folks I didn't. And if I met someone at the National I didn't know, I might talk to him for 2.5 minutes. Last night I chatted with a new guy I met 25 minutes in the breaking space. It's great. Modern guy, real energetic. It was a lot of fun to chat with him.
Very nice.
So they were calling it trade night for a reason, Lou. There was actually some real trades going down. And, I would say mainly of the modern variety. As you know, it's not necessarily my first love, but, I still respect.
Was it limited to trades, or was that the purpose of this? Or
yeah, it was. Don't get me wrong, Lou. Like, it wasn't like money was prohibited.
Yep.
But it wasn't supposed to be a card show with things for sale. It was more like social, like, hey, let's trade, like old school. So people were bringing like the little black cases, and they had some nice stuff there.
Cody's having trouble with the heat on his walk today, so Cody, just take it easy. Make sure you stay hydrated.
Yeah.
So this is trading with people who don't. This is off the street, so people don't know each other too well, right?
Some people knew each other, some people didn't. But Lou, it's kind of like when I show my mug, at least 4 people are like, "Dude," well, that's not true. Half of the 4 were like, "Dude, that's Vince Vaughn." The other half of the 4 were like, "Dude, that's Vintage Franks."
Yeah.
So it was fun because I didn't necessarily know them before, but you were able to talk with them and cultivate relationships that, like I said, maybe at a convention would just be a little bit too intense.
How did you feel about the quality of trading and the quality of negotiation? Because trading's always tough.
So I will tell you firsthand, actually, that's what I'd like to talk about next. So I did, trading is always hard, Lou, as you said.
Yeah.
Everyone always, it's like, everyone thinks their shit's worth more than it is. It just, let's be honest, right? So it's kind of interesting because a few of the cards I brought were actually still tagged from the card show. And the guy's like, "Are you trying to sell?" I'm like, no. I'm not trying to violate any rules.
Yep.
So, but for whatever it's worth, it does help me understand the value without like having to pull up my phone and a spreadsheet. Like it's right there, you know.
Yep.
I'll figure out the trade value. I'm not worried. So, you know, people are oohing and eyeing over the mantle. I'm trying to get people to open some packs, but they're drinking, they're eating pizza, they don't know what's going on, right? You know, meaning like people are just happy to be out, Lou. It's kind of like a frat party in that sense.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing a deal with an unnamed party. You'll see why. Maybe it's fine.
Yep.
So basically, they wanted a card of mine, and I didn't really have a problem trading it, but there's only a few things that they had that I wanted. One of them was off limits because of the whatever, you know.
Yep.
And the other one was like basically, and I understand the market moved. They were upside down on their Clemente rookie.
Yep.
So he wasn't going to trade it. No problem. So we make a deal, a pretty decent sized trade, maybe like a $7,000 trade. And we kind of say almost in like I mean, we certainly meant it, but in a way because we wanted everyone to feel good. And when I mean everyone, not just the person and I doing the trade, but like people were kind of watching. You know, you don't want people to think like, wow, that guy got a one over on the other guy. You don't want that kind of MO going around either about you or, for that matter, about the other person. So we say kind of like almost at the same time, hey, like if you are in the morning, if it's the morning, man, and you don't like the deal, like we can undo the deal.
Yeah.
No biggie, right? We don't want anyone to be upset. Because, as we're talking, like $7,000, decent sized trade.
Right. Plus, this is a community. You don't want anyone to get killed in any of these deals because you've ruined the relationship.
Absolutely. So my friend Chris Coe, and of course, beloved member of our community, and we're going to get to see him in person, me for the first time at the National. I'm super excited about that. Jim Ector. Hopefully we'll get Harry out there, rest of the gang. So I text him that I got this card in a trade, and I was excited because he's like, are you going to keep it? And I'm going to show it to you in a minute, guys. Are you going to keep it? And I said, I don't know, I'm going to keep it. I already got a couple of the other earlier ones. But, it was cool to do a trade, and I wanted content, this and that. So I look at it this morning. I send an image out. I look at it closely. I'm like, I don't know if you've been there before, Lou. You've maybe been in a dark bar. You think someone might look one way. It's like the Seinfeld episode.
Yes.
She looked one way in one angle at the diner, and then a different booth, a different time, a different angle. Oh, no good.
Yep.
So I'm about to show you the card in question.
Uh-oh.
It's a 1950 Bowman, Jackie Robinson PSA 5. You
Wow.
won't be able to see the detail from here, meaning with the way we have the focus in loose. I'm not going to torture everyone.
Sure.
Basically, at first glance, card looks well enough, meaning it's well centered, etc. It's graded by PSA. So, Lou, the deal is, I'm there to like. And by the way, I got there. I got the haircut in the city. It was fantastic yesterday. I'm in the village. People are out and about. Like the birds are chirping. It was just nice. So I wasn't in a rush to get to trade night because when I got there, Lou, like my anchor was being set down. Mm-hmm. I wasn't looking to run out anywhere. So we're there till after dark. Lou, you couldn't see any detail. It's one thing I learned from trade night numero uno. They had to be fair. The kid wasn't trying to get one over on me. They had it inside. They had lighting. I just chose not to use it. In retrospect, I should have. So we're doing a deal. I'm like, I can't see any detail on the Jackie other than it's the Jackie. It looks real and it's in the holder.
Right.
It looks like a decent 5, good centered. Lou, I look at it this morning. I'm like, no, it can't be. I swear to God, I like go downstairs to like a different level of my home, looking at it from a different angle. I'm like, I don't like this at all. Meaning like the grade doesn't look appropriate for the condition of the card I'm seeing. And I understand I'm hypersensitive, Lou, right? Because I do this for a living.
Sure.
But even still, it's not right. And I don't want to, and this is what I told them, I don't want to off it to my community and basically like, he said he didn't grade it. He got it in another deal. Awesome. But for me, I didn't feel comfortable. And so I thought it was pretty cool, in terms of the deal. I said, hey, listen, it was a Babe Ruth strip card. So it was a big deal that I traded. I said, keep the Babe Ruth for now. I'm not gonna, I'm not requiring it back, but I don't want this. He also gave me a few other things besides this. That's what made the deal.
Okay.
And so those other items are still okay. The Jackie is not okay. And I've already agreed to several cards, including a Nolan Ryan rookie, a 55 Jackie. So, I'm going to try to make it work for him, even though, Lou, it kind of goes against my principle of, and this is what I want to share with everyone, I don't generally like to take one card that's expensive and get a bunch of other cards.
Yeah.
I like to trade up. But, as I explained to my buddy, the cool thing is I got to do this for a living. So, because it wasn't in my, if you will, keeper box, Lou.
Yep.
Right? At the end of the day, does it really matter if I have cards that I can sell? Hey, Chris, Lou, and make my buddy happy and consummate the deal? Yeah, it's not ideal. I'd rather have it be a different deal.
Right.
So, you don't need to win or club it on every deal. Fair is just okay. And to be clear, he wasn't Leighton, you're an asshole. I don't get it.
Yes.
I don't think he understood because he definitely doesn't know as much about cards as I do. I just explained to him that I can't present it to, even if it's on eBay. If a guy tried to return it to me, I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember that card. It's terrible.
So what did you miss and what did PSA miss on this card?
Sure. So, I like to try to keep it, fresh here and not disparage, but I would tell you that I know my cards really well. I would put my eye against most. And this card's graded a PSA 5, Lou. So at first glance, meaning in the dark, the card's centered. So that's not an issue.
Right.
Right? However, upon further examination, almost like a replay, I look at the corners. I'm like, they're not great, but I could live with them, Lou, if there's nothing else in terms of an X card, meaning a 5.
Right.
Lou, I'm angling it. I'm looking. I'm like, no. That can't be a crease in the upper left, can it?
Oh.
And I'm like, no. I don't want any part of this card. I don't understand what's going on. It doesn't look like the case has been messed with. And to be honest, maybe the guy had really bad diarrhea. No one offered him Tums. No one offered him Pepto. I can be honest, we've all been there.
Yeah.
That's a terrible situation. So if he had to grade X amount of cards that day, he was probably just going 5, 4, 7, 9.
Yeah.
Yep. Hey, I made quota for today. I'm out at 5,000. And obviously, guys, I'm trying to have some fun with this. Yep. I don't know. It could be an honest mistake. Who the heck knows? But I would tell you that on a multi-$1,000 card, you want to know what you're buying. And, you want to know what you're offering other people. So it's a great card. I wouldn't grade the card above a 4. Frankly, I would give it a 3. I definitely couldn't give it a 5. And by the way, it's a new label. So this is not like it was created 17 years ago and, it's a different regime, a different time, a different decade. No. This was created pretty recent.
Always a good lesson to remember that all 5s aren't the same. All grades aren't the same.
Lou, that is exactly right. And furthermore, folks, the additional free tip for today is if you're doing trade night and you're in a place that's outside and dark, do yourself a favor. Go inside, use some light.
Well, you're talking about physical light and darkness, and that's interesting as well. But you go into a card show like the National, especially after a year off, and you're a little bit hyped up, and you find a card that you really have been looking for a while, be able to take an objective look at it, right? Don't let your biases, don't let the excitement of the moment get the best of you.
I always say, try to pretend it's a common. It's a really good way, Lou, to get out some of that, emotion you're feeling.
Yep.
Agree, Chris. So, actually, I'm reading some of the highlights.
Yep. I'm not a BGS fan for vintage cards, but it's things like this that make having subgrades very important, Tyler says.
Absolutely, Tyler. I would say, what's more important than subgrades? Education. And I don't want to sound like a corny card nerd, because that's certainly what I was sounding like last night. What's up, Richard? Some of the guys were in their 20s, so I felt like, oh my God, this is like
yeah.
But the one thing I know that I have over them in terms of experience is just that I bought and sold a lot more in terms of vintage. Modern, I don't profess to be in that space heavily, but in terms of vintage, like my buddy I was doing this trade with, he said, hey, Leighton, I understand. I'm just trying to learn. And I said, hey, now you should know, like, just because you're doing a trade for a graded card, like, you still have to look at it. You still got to pretend you're buying it, So I'm going to hang on to this, and actually, I'm either going to send it back or we'll just meet in person. Not worried. But, the rest of the list is coming, and we're going to be getting stuff. So,
and that card will be a 5 forever because no one's going to send that back to get regraded. No one's going to question that.
I wouldn't think so. And so I don't know, exactly what will happen, but I know that I'm not interested in owning it.
Richard says, could it be a fake case or a tampered with case?
Oh, it very well could be, but I looked at it. I didn't think that it was. But I'm not a card case detective like Mr. Ford Fairlane, rock and roll detective. Andrew Dice Clay. Did you ever see that movie, Lou? Adventures of Ford Fairlane?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God, it's so bad but good.
Yes,
I
love that type of movie.
Gilbert Godfrey. It's Adventures. The Adventures of Ford Fairlane.
I've heard of it, yeah, but I haven't seen it.
Oh my God,
I like those types of movies that are so bad that they're good.
It's really good. I know a bunch of lines from it. It's fantastic.
Chris says, but I do believe there's generally an accepted view on what good eye appeal is.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, I just didn't think it fit this card.
Welcome, Mike.
What up, Mike? So, Lou,
Chris says, can you see through the label? Can you see through the label through the light, or is it edge of the case cloudy? I don't know what that means.
Through the label.
Or is the edge of the case cloudy? So he's looking for, I guess, a forged case, Chris.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Not from what I can see. But nonetheless, that's my tip for today. So, Lou, the other Lou will be joining us in just a few minutes, so you give me a heads up whenever he's ready.
I will.
We are tinkering with a very exciting, high-end, graded hit random for the National. One that we would list before and hopefully sell out by the National. So we'll keep everyone posted about that.
All right.
I am working on now, Lou. You'll dig this. I've not been able to find the definitive amount of people that is the world record for chewing gum at the same time. But I have found the world record, and it's beatable, man. Wait till I lay it on you. The world record for the amount of people simultaneously blowing a bubble.
Oh, really?
I wanted to break it last year at the National, but got delayed. And so this has been 2 years in the making, Lou. Ever since I left the last National, this is what I wanted to do. I thought it would make great content. You could do some great charity stuff with it. With the right sponsors like Tops, and other potential candy manufacturers and such. So, Lou, what do you think the over-under is? I'll give you the over-under. The over-under is 2,500. Do you think more or less is the record for the amount of people simultaneously blowing a bubble at one time?
Wow, 2,500. Well, you said it was doable, so I'm going to take the under.
I know, I gave away too much, Lou.
Yeah, you gave away too much.
From what I could tell, it's like 860 or 960. Jury's still out.
Wow.
Lou, you can make that. We can make that happen at the National.
Yes, I absolutely. Just go in the big room and make it happen. Just go. Do I want to be involved?
I think Tops would want to be involved.
Oh, Tops would want to be involved. Absolutely. Yes.
I think Gary's a candy guy. We could ask Lou. He's like a savage with lollipops. If he happens to like low pops, he'll probably be involved.
I like it. So we can do this in the big room, right? And do it live.
Yes.
You're going to have someone. Is this a Guinness record? Did you pull a Guinness record?
Oh, it's certifiable, baby.
Okay. Well, we're going to have someone from Guinness there. Maybe they'll send somebody out.
Well, listen, if we're going to go through all the effort, Lou, we're going to need someone on the ground.
Tyler says Nate Turner from PSA has the buyback program where if they see a card on the market that the grade looks terrible, PSA will buy it automatically from the owner and regrade it.
That's what I told my buddy to do, seeing as how it is not my card.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going to do that. But yes, Tyler, that's exactly what I told him to do.
If they replace the label, if the case is tampered, you'll see the case edge cloudy. So yes.
Yeah, it's not cloudy. It's just a bad grade for the whole, for the card. Or at least that's what my thoughts are, right?
Yep. Under 1,000, Rich says on that record. That's surprising. It is.
Yeah, I don't think anyone considered, And I'm sure as soon as we do it, someone's going to go really big, Lou.
Where are you going to get all the gum?
Well, from the sponsor, from Tops.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, they make it.
That's true. That's not the baseball card gum isn't really great bubble gum though, is it?
No.
No.
Hey, I think Lou is in the background if you want to bring him in, Lou.
Yes, he is. Here's Lou.
Awesome.
Hello, everyone.
Hey, what's shaking, Lou? How are you?
Good to see you guys. How's everything?
Oh, fantastic. We're excited to have you on the show today.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, hopefully it's a nice break for you from everything else going on in your world.
Yeah, take a little break on a Wednesday afternoon or Thursday. I don't even know what day it is.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard to keep the day straight. So are you chilling with us from your home today, or are you in the city? Where you at?
I'm in Jersey in my apartment. I'm in the Card Talk Cave, as some refer to it as.
So, Lou, speaking of Card Talk, it's a podcast that I listen to. But why don't you tell everyone a little bit about it, how it came to be, and how everyone can find you?
Sure, thank you. So Card Talk is a podcast hosted by, I would say it's really hosted by Ryan Johnson, mostly known as Card Collector 2 to people in the hobby, along with myself and Tyler Schmidt. Myself and Tyler obviously coming from the Gary world and have been newer entrants into the hobby, or at least for me, returning into the hobby in the last few years. So it's really the way it works is Tyler and I just defer to Ryan on like anything that involves like actually knowing about cards. And then it's myself and Tyler have a little bit of a different perspective, I find, than a lot of typical hobbyists, in good ways and bad, right? Like I've learned a ton from Ryan in the last year, and I've like to think that he learned a little bit from myself and Tyler as well. So really it's once a week. We put out our podcast on Wednesdays, and it's kind of just covering the past week of cards, things that have happened. PSA shuts down, we talk about that, or NBA playoffs are happening, we talk about that. And then we try to look ahead a little bit, talk about different things that are happening upcoming in the hobby. Like we've been talking about the National, of course, in the last few weeks, different card shows, different releases that are coming out. And then we also have a cool segment because eBay was gracious enough to sponsor our show. We've had a couple different iterations of a segment that has now become Play of the Week, which is like probably the number one thing that people talk to me about when I see them at shows, is essentially like we get to highlight different things people are doing in the hobby, different quote unquote plays people are making, buying and selling cards, which has become like the coolest thing because I've learned a ton of different cards, a bunch of different sets, all that cool stuff. And so that's pretty much our entire show. We're definitely a little more flipping focused as opposed to collector focused. But we try to highlight that as well, because I do think that's a big part of the hobby. And I was someone a year and a half ago who wasn't the biggest, like, hey, I'm going to sit on some stuff because I love it. I'm just going to have it forever, right? And I've now transformed into this person who has like wrestling cards and Astros cards just coming out of my ears. So I've definitely evolved in that way as well.
Well, Lou, you brought up some interesting things in terms of, how your show is. And one of the things that, I find, right, I consider myself to be very knowledgeable about cards in the space. And so what I'm trying to do is to take my limited time and both learn as well as enjoy. And so I like that you guys don't take yourselves too seriously. You don't try to profess that when you know, and you actually don't, which obviously we've seen a lot of that going on in the hobby. And for your point, Lou, like, I like that you're owning it. Like, you guys are okay with, you do collect a little bit, but you're doing a bunch of flipping. And, listen, you're going to end up truthfully landing somewhere in that middle, right? There's going to be some years, Lou, where I feel like, man, and I remember this as a kid. The number one question my dad would ask me when I would go home, hey, son, did you spend more or did you take in more?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't even care about the profit margin. He understood cash flow.
Of course.
So, I think that, maybe for now, and obviously the market has softened a little bit, depending on what, sector you're in, of course, some more than others. But if you're going to be doing it for a long time, like myself or like yourself, it really is a good time to quote unquote buy. If you're going to be either putting away something for the long term, or if you don't believe the game of baseball is going anywhere, and you saw that Sandy Koufax rookies were selling for X 12 months ago, and now they're selling for X minus Y, you're like, you know what? And this is the best part about Sandy Koufax rookies. You're like, the worst that happens is I own a Sandy Koufax rookie.
Correct.
And I've seen a lot of this going around the hobby. It's true, and obviously everyone has their own iteration of this. But if you start out collecting what you love and you branch off, even without an exact plan, you're still going to end up with, as you were joking, Lou, a lot of Astro cards and a lot of things. And, people don't always have to agree with the things you collect, but things that you love, no one can take that away from you. And honestly, that's how I walked into, by dumb luck, that Hulk Hogan Precious Metal Gem I had the show. Literally the only card in my case I don't have a price on. I have it there as an eye catcher, but I never thought it was going to be the eye catcher it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought it. Literally, it was like, I think it was $2,200. I honestly thought if the card was $200, I didn't care. I just wanted, if it was cool as a PSA 10.
Yeah.
And I was offered $10,000 for it.
And you didn't even think about it.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to sell it. At 100
No
grand,
shot.
I would sell it maybe, but not 10. 100 grand makes a big difference, right?
Of course. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would sell pretty much anything for $100,000.
So let's talk about this though. All kidding aside, right? The actual amount of dollars.
Sure.
I think that there's something that collectors, and we started talking about this at the show, because honestly, I feel bad. I've seen some collectors in the last 14 days hit me up. Late, I need some extra money for the National. I need some extra money for this. And the reality of it is wow, I wish you would have sold 3 months ago, because it doesn't bring me joy to tell you what's going on with the market where it's at, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the things I think we could all do a better job of, meaning as a collector, as a dealer, as someone in between, is being cognizant of what we own at any one given moment, knowing whether it be your perspective, Lou, and how long you've been in the hobby, mine, the other Lou or the gang, the Breaking Maniacs that maybe are watching, or people on the Loft that are watching, we don't all have the same experience. But man, if you feel uncomfortable and your card has gone up so much, just sell it, take the money. You can easily buy a lower graded version later, and there's actually a chance it will go down, and you can buy literally the same card with that money and just pocket the difference. And I know, of course, it just seems so simple, but Lou, I would say that was my biggest takeaway from this weekend and this week of just talking to people on the phone. Like a buddy of mine, he has a 6-figure collection. He's not going to sell it to me, but he's got great stuff. He's got a Jordan 9. He's got a Magic Bird. And I said to him, hold it. And he asked me as a favor. And I said, I'll do this for you. Hey, when things become a little bit hotter in some cases, could you kind of let me know? So maybe I'll sell 1 or 2 of them instead of waiting when it all goes up, it all goes down. And even though he's still happy to own them, I can hear in his voice, Lou, he would have preferred to sell a few pieces and cash out a little bit.
Of course. Yeah, I think our show is definitely, I definitely hear it a lot as well of man, a lot of this stuff has gone down a lot in the last few months, right? And I think our show, I may be wrong about this, I think our show caters to definitely a newer collector, someone who's been in the hobby for a lot less time, right? Even a lot less time than me. And I think that's why I love Tyler for this. Every episode, he hammers home, you need to educate yourself on what you're buying, because of course we're in the golden age of cards, right? We're in the golden age of flipping everything. You buy something and then 14 seconds later
we
you sell it.
shut down the grading companies, guys.
The company, literally, they were printing money and they had to stop the printing press because they couldn't keep up.
That's the best way to put it. I love it. They had the ability to print money, and they're like, you know what? We can't print any more money right now.
We gotta stop.
The other money.
Yeah, it's just, and it's really unfortunate. I couldn't agree more. It sucks. I hate it when people are yeah, LeBron rookies. I bought a LeBron rookie for $10K or whatever for a 9, and now the 9s or whatever and it's that's brutal. I am also, and I mean this in the best way, and I hope no one takes it the wrong way. I'm a huge fan of when I take an L and I really get punched in the mouth with a card. I love that because it really, at least for me, I know myself, the only way I know how to learn a lesson is when I really get hurt. So I know for me, and it's why I also always say anything you buy, you should be comfortable with it being $0. That's obviously the number one thing Gary has taught me, right? Is anything you're going to do in this card game, you got to be comfortable with it going to 0. And if your card goes to zero, like you said, you still have the card. You have the thing that you want. You should buy the sports that you like, the shows, the IP that you like, and then it doesn't matter as long as you don't overextend. It doesn't matter.
Lou, talk a little bit about your perspective on comparing and contrasting the modern market with the vintage market from a flipping standpoint. How do flippers look at these two markets?
Yeah, I mean, I would say for me, I definitely don't think I'm the voice of all flippers, but I think for me, when I think about vintage, it's harder for me to find the flipping opportunities, right? Obviously, like this past year has disproved that theory, but for me, at least, when I think about buying something like this weekend in Philly, I bought a Justin Herbert Orange Select, right? And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna grab this card. I'm definitely gonna sell it. I'm gonna grab this card today. I'm gonna bring it with me to Chicago. At the National, there'll be people looking for football there, and I'll be able to take my profit on it and move on. I have trouble finding the windows for vintage in that same way. And in the way that I'm conservative and I don't like spending money, if I'm buying a card to flip it, right? If I don't see an exit window or an exit strategy, I can't spend the money on it, right? So I've heard that from other people as well. That's how I always think of it.
So there's more volatility in the modern market, so the flipping is quicker. In other words, you're not necessarily looking to buy a card and hold for a while and play it out.
I have modern cards that I've held for 3 months, 6 months, a year. I just sold the card that I had for like 18 months. So like it's different. It varies, right? But even if I have trouble finding the windows for them to sell in my brain as I'm looking at the card, I can't do it.
Yeah, it's a really good point, Lou. Obviously, I'm in the business for Just Collect on the buy and selling side of things. But I would tell you, I have a little bit of a different mentality. Not that one is right or wrong. It's that I look at my time as not infinite. And I can't guarantee how much I'm going to be able to, quote unquote, flip and grind. But I can guarantee, because I've been doing vintage cards for a long time.
Sure.
Hey, I know that mantle is underpriced, or Clemente cards I should be buying here. But I see your point. Like, I never thought about this, Lou. You're right. I don't buy those cards. I look at it as like, what was that car that sold itself, the Honda? I just buy Hondas. I don't necessarily buy the high grade. I buy stuff with good eye appeal that everyone else really wants.
And go ahead, finish.
No, I was going to say, like, that just has served me well for the long haul. But what I would say is when I dip my foot in the modern pool, like I show this off, Lou, and you'll appreciate it. I'm not a modern guy.
That's a great card.
Crosby. It's a Scherzer Heritage Refractor. It's a gorgeous card. He's making the haul. And, like, it's also helping me learn the modern market. And so allowed me to pounce on this for what I paid and seeing the comps. Like, this is a pimp card.
Oh, yeah. That's a great card.
I just couldn't get a 10 because, they're not easy to get.
Sure.
So, but I do see, like, because I paid attention to Sasha, and like I said, I really enjoy your content. Like, I get it how if you don't have a lot of money, the modern market, it's just like looking at the stock market, right? It's a little bit traded more heavily. Thus, you may be able to find whatever that margin is that you're trying to achieve. Whereas, like, I guess for me, and I guess this is the card nerd in me, Lou, I'm always like, hey, even when I buy a vintage card to sell at some point later, because I'm such a card nerd, like, I remember the last time I saw that card was 7 years ago, and that's just how sick I am.
100%.
But the modern cards, I tend to, unless I'm buying, and I'm like you, Lou, I'm conservative. Unless I'm buying cheap and I have tons of upside with little downside, I like to buy stuff like this that's quality, that I'm going to hold for probably longer than maybe most people will in the modern field.
Yep.
And if it ends up going up a lot, I sell it early, so be it.
Mm-hmm.
But I like it.
Yeah. Great question. I'm sorry. Great question here, Leighton. How has the wave of flippers changed your buying methods as a business, specifically holding, turnover time, how many cards you decline to purchase compared to 5 years ago? How has it changed your model, the wave of flippers?
Sir, it is a great question. And so for me, both Lou's, the way that it's changed my model is that if someone comes up to me with vintage, like, I'll put my knowledge against anyone. So I'm not worried. I don't have any antenna going up. But I have someone coming to the show like this past weekend, Lou. I know you were in Philly. Do you know how many people came up to me with like a Magic Bird rookie and an 8? And I know that's not modern. But if you come up to me with all like the red alert cards that have been hot and now are no longer, it's not that I won't buy them. but I also know you're trying to catch a falling knife, and that's really hard to do, especially in the buying side. So I tend to say, hey, do you have a price? Oh, you don't have a price? Well, you know what? I'm really busy right now. Come back to me if you figure it out. But like, you know, that's the stuff, Lou B, where I try to be extra careful, because if you're coming to me and I know the market's very much a flipping market, I would say I'm careful. However, and this is also really important, and Lou G, you know this, knowing your sources and who you deal with are really important. So for example, I've not had the pleasure of doing a deal with Sasha yet. Let's just say for a minute, Sasha has a reputation of leaving meat on the bone. If you had that reputation, my antenna is down a little bit, because I know we've done business before, and undoubtedly you leave me 15% on the bone or 25% or whatever the number is. And like, I don't need to double check every last number. And because I'm pretty thorough when it comes to like putting out my money. But if I've dealt with you and there's 50 cards, maybe I don't value all 50, I'll value 30 of them. And the last 20, because they're only worth $2,000 total. Yeah, it's close enough. We got a deal.
We're good.
What do you think about that in terms of like who you're dealing with, Lou, in that perspective?
Yeah, I think that's a huge thing that Ryan's taught me. And something like being, of course, like I told you, and obviously you saw us when we were there, like the National in Chicago 2019 was my first card show in like 10 years. Like it was a really long time, right? So it's hard for me to like, I don't really have that muscle. We talk about the selling muscle a lot on our show. And Ryan's the king of like, man, like the relationship that you can have with someone. You see him at a show, you give them a little bit, they're going to come back to you every single time. And that relationship is so good because it helps both of you. I'm trying to buy a car. You're going to help me out a little bit because you know I'm going to get you on the next one. You're going to help me out on the car because I'm going to get you on the next one. Well, you know what I mean? So I think that relationship, and that's one of the best parts about cards, is like the reason why I think cards are so awesome is it has the opportunity to help you grow as like a business person and like a quote unquote entrepreneur. And at the same time, you make a bunch of friends doing it because everyone's making money together and everyone's getting cards they want and they get to build their collections and all of that. So it's one of the best parts about the whole thing.
And the card market is big, but it is still a community. So these lasting relationships with people, they grow vines and they grow leaves, and it just increases your ability to do business throughout the community.
Absolutely. Ryan is my friend for the rest of my life, whether he likes it or not. And that's how I feel about a lot of people in the card community.
Well, I'm looking forward to having you introduce me to him at the National, obviously.
Absolutely.
The video and such. So I know we only have a minute or two left here as we kind of run over, but I wanted to say this for the end because I know at least some of the folks are aware that you're affiliated with Gary. And so I wanted to kind of, ask you one or two questions about what a day in the life is like working with Gary, working alongside of Gary, and then just so you can kind of percolate as we're talking. Can you give us a fun fact about Gary, like you were dropping about the lollipops of the show, that maybe our audience didn't know, but it had to do with collectibles, nothing to do with something random like blueberries or what have you?
Okay. So a day in the life of Gary. This is funny. I now have like the main camera on me. A day. So people, a lot of people now, especially in the hobby, think that I'm just the host of Card Talk or one of the hosts of Card Talk, and I just sell cards all day. My real job is I'm Gary's assistant, and that's where I'm awake for 16 hours a day. Like 13 of those hours is doing my regular work or whatever, and then like the other few hours I have on cards. So day in the life of Gary is like I wake up and we just go through his entire calendar. He is the hardest working person I've ever met in my entire life. And it's not a game. Like it's like 8:30 to 8:30, rocking and rolling, grinding. And like, that's just the way it is. It's been very, very strange not being around him because, as you know, I've known him for so long now. And even when I first got into this job, we were in the office every day and all that stuff. It's now become, I just sit at this desk for my entire day and we text and we FaceTime, and that's how we communicate now. Or not as much recently, but that's what we were doing, at least in the beginning. And it's not as glorious as anyone thinks. It's exactly as not glorious as you might think it is. It's literally just working, getting things done, go to bed, you do it again the next day. Right. And then as far as like random little stories, I mean, there's an infinite amount of them. Like I haven't told anyone this before, but like when we were in Chicago, he was like, hey, listen, we got to go to the show. Well, and I was getting into it with him and I was helping him out with the buying and the selling and blah, blah, blah. and I've said this before, and I said it to him too, is like, ultimately it's still work, right? At first, at least. It's like, hey, we're going to Chicago for this trade show. It's like, all right, cool. I'm going to sit at this table all day and I'm going to sell cards. And that's what I'm going to do. But at the end of the show on Sunday, we were walking around, and it was Sundays of the National is usually pretty dead. Like, everyone's packing up, leaving, whatever. We're just walking around, and we passed by a couple stands, and he was like, this is just the coolest thing in the whole world. And it was the most genuine reaction to something that is, even to me, like, I really do love cards. I don't get like sentimental about them or whatever. And it wasn't even necessarily sentimental, but it was just, he was just like truly happy to be in like this convention hall, just looking at collectibles all day, cards and baseball jerseys and signed checks and like all this random stuff. And I was like, he like actually truly loves it. And I believed him when he told me he loved it, but like seeing someone in the element of actually loving something is very different than just hearing them talk about it. And you've seen it. I know you have.
Yeah.
It's very real, and it's infectious, and it's a big part of the reason why I think I've gotten so into it is his genuine love for it.
Well, it was very well said, Lou. It's funny because I know that, you know, I have the gift to gab, and I yap a lot, sometimes too much, you know, and certainly with Gary, especially in the beginning when I first met him. Let's be honest, right? Like, it was someone I looked up to. You know, you get nervous, just like if you were meeting, let's say, a sports star or what have you.
Sure.
And he really made me feel comfortable almost right away, you know, which was super awesome. And I go back to some of those film clips at that wine library event. It wasn't wine library, but it was like that charity event where wine library, you know, was sponsoring and such. So anyway, so I meet him and we start chatting, and, you know, Ryan's there and stuff. And like, you could just see, you know, on his face, like there was nothing onerous about like opening packs with me. And then literally said to me at the end, and like, it didn't register at first, only on the way home. He's like, Leighton, I really, you know, like, I couldn't shut off that 86 Clear box, like the video you're watching. Like, it was awesome. And I'm like, I'm almost thinking like he's fucking with me. And like, the way you're putting it, Lou, yeah, no, that's who he is. Like he's not going to fuck with you. And like, I mean, maybe he fucks with you if you guys are friends. The point is, when he's paying you a compliment, he's certainly not fucking with you. And it was really like, it was very powerful.
He is the king of needling, the king of like, if you're hanging out, he's the king of it. But it's true. It's truthful, genuine, just wants to have a good time. That's really what it comes down to.
Great. Well, you know, on that note, you know, Lou, we kind of run over a little bit here, and I know you had a crazy day today, and
it's all good. I'm
potentially
thankful.
Several hours more of work to do today.
Definitely not tonight. Thanks.
All right, good. Well, listen, one of these days when it's convenient for you guys at Card Talk, we'd love to get on as far as vintage breaks goes, give a nice break credit away, maybe something for the National, whatever the case is. We'll talk offline. But everything else aside, it was wonderful having you on the show today.
Thank you. I'm very much looking forward to that. We'll figure that out for sure.
Absolutely.
I cannot wait to hang out at the Vintage Breaks booth at the National.
It's going to be great.
Can't wait.
Awesome. Thanks again, Lou. Have a great day.
All right. That was fun.
Yeah, no, Lou is great. You know, we met a couple of years ago in person, and we've done a bunch of things since. And really, you know, I appreciate him, like, not trying to dress up his job for Gary, because a lot of folks might be like, oh my God, I got to meet this person and that person. And believe me, like, when my wife has like a celebrity case, she'll tell like the person walking the dog around the street. And I'm like, you know that guy? And she's like, oh, no. But, you know, seemed like he might want to know that, you know, we're handling the Madonna case.
Listen, I'm guessing J5 would tell very similar stories about you. And to be good at business, you have to have two things. You have to have a work ethic, and you have to have a passion for it. And
yeah, very much so.
Those are qualities that you share with Gary V. Gary V's passion is obvious. I mean, he's just life in general. But I imagine you see it in the card shows, the appearances he's made with you. Just loves it.
Yeah, he does. And special final shout out to Gary. So the show he's referring to, I actually saw Gary that Sunday, and I remember he had like, you know, once again, I know it sounds corny, but he had like a twinkle in his eye, and he's like, I was hustling. I remember. I either bought a 51 Bowman Mantle and or sold a bunch of stuff on that final, like, when I say final day, like the final day, Lou, people are like, peace and love, like they're getting on their airplanes, you know, the airport's 10 minutes from there. And like, I purposely booked my flight for either like the last flight out or the next morning, because I'm like, we're already here all week. The money's spent. the time is spent. The opportunity cost has already been, bared. So let's just try to, get the most out of it we can.
Yeah, J5 and Sam have the truck packed. They're driving back. You can fly out later.
Absolutely. So I thought today's show was really fun. The team's going to give away the 7 prizes, which are really good, headlined by that $100 break credit today from Leighton's Loft, sponsored by Just Collect, Vintage Breaks, and Otia Sports. If you are interested, Lou, I've had a bunch of people ask me recently of potentially selling some things for the National. You can hit me up direct. Just email me, Leighton@justcollect.com, and I'll be happy to try to see if we can work out a deal.
All right. Excellent. Have a good break tonight, and we'll see you on the Loft next week.
Thanks, everybody.